Frank, there's someone hurt down here. Get someone on that radio. Take it easy. I got you. Don't try to move. Are you hurt?
Greetings, virtual wanderers, Aeon's here. So it finally happened. After more than 20 years of waiting, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is out. And just like you, I still can't believe I just said that sentence either. It feels surreal because the original Bloodlines wasn't just another vampire RPG, it was the vampire RPG. A cult classic born from Troika Games back in 2004. The game felt janky, sure, but its atmosphere, story depth, and complex RPG mechanics, unmatched. And players didn't just play it, they adopted it, fixed it, and kept it alive for decades with patches and mods. That's how legendary it became. So when the sequel was announced, fans of the cult classic had every emotion imaginable. Hope, excitement, and let's be honest, a little fear. The journey this game took could fill a whole documentary. It started with Hardsuit Labs, even brought back one of the original writers from Troika Games. For a while it felt like we were getting the real deal again, but then the axe fell. Hardsuit Labs was out, and the torch was passed to the Chinese Room, a studio known for beautiful atmospheric titles, but RPGs? Not exactly their thing. Fast forward to today, and after several delays, it's finally in our hands. The reception? Mixed would be putting it kindly. Some call it an ambitious reinterpretation, others, well, go as far as calling it only a sequel by name. The gameplay direction, the story tone, even the performance, all feel, let's say, unstable. But hey, that's what we're here to talk about, how the open world design and atmosphere have changed, for better or for worse, between the first Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines and the so-called Bloodlines 2. So let's start with a more obvious change, visuals. Seattle doesn't just look good in Bloodlines 2. It performs a magic trick when the snow starts falling and neon puddles up on the asphalt, giving every block a stage-lit hush that doubles down on the vampire noir vibe, even if stutters and stiff close-ups pull you out of the hallucination every now and then. By comparison, the first game's LA felt like a haunted theater production, rickety sets, unforgettable scenes, and the community's decade plus of patches turned that creek into a character you could feel in your bones. If you're the adventurous type, you have the option to mod the original for better quality graphics. I mean, it won't be anything like the modern sequel, but take a look for yourself. Doesn't that look satisfying to the eye for a 2004 game?
You in or out?
And because the atmosphere breathes best when you can wander, Seattle's connected districts help nights stretch out naturally. Less door-to-door stage hopping, more continuous prowl. Still not anything as big as GTA, but clearly a step up in cohesion and seamlessness over the original. The first Bloodlines carved LA into tight hubs. Santa Monica, downtown, Hollywood, Chinatown. Rich with stories but fenced with transitions that reminded you that the city lived in pieces, not one seamless pulse. The prequel even had a sewer system in each of the hubs, which might make its map bigger by pure combined area, but we'll leave it up to you guys what you think in the comments on this one. Now that continuity sets the table for the sequel's favorite party trick, which is unexpectedly parkour. The game implements verticality that actually matters, which means scrambling up fire escapes, gliding between rooftops, and using altitude as stealth and swagger, turning traversal into a toy rather than a commute. Back in 2004, height was mostly scenery. You climbed when the level designer allowed it, not because the skyline invited you to play connect the dots across the rooftops. Although I really wish there was a mod that let us move or parkour through the cult classic better. Once you find that aerial rhythm, the story reins you back in. The Elder Vampire dual perspective structure gives Bloodlines 2 a sharp noir spine that moves with intent, one that is guided through tightly directed storylines. I mean, do you really have to kill everyone if you're just trying to get through a locked door? It loses the original's choice-based narrative that revolved around you. The original let clan choice, background, and dialogue checks reshape neighborhoods and outcomes. So a second run often felt like a parallel city wearing the same jacket but carrying different secrets. I mean, the game gave you choices whether to sneak, finesse, or just right out kill everyone back then.
Should I be surprised? An elder awakens in your city, and the new prince rushes to bring them to heel.
The emphasis on an authored mystery puts a lot of weight on conversations. And here, the sequel's facial animation can wobble, with mouths that move, but micro-expressions that undersell the weight behind the words. Troika's game, for all its age, could surprise you with a stare or a twitch that made a threat land with a thud. Even with its outdated graphics, you were still able to tell what kind of expressions they were giving. It really helps sell the human side of the NPCs when you're trying to deceive or seduce them, adding to the immersion of the characters. Something that clearly stuck over the years, but sadly, not to its sequel. Side content tells the same story. In Bloodlines 2, most side quests feel like bite-sized fetch missions. Get the item, fight the guy, done. You have added collectibles that you gotta find in the game, sure, but it still doesn't add that much weight. Especially when the side missions feel like one-off tasks that reward you with a mediocre amount of XP at best. Now compare that to the original's branching mini-stories. Quests like the Ocean House or the Ghoulish Lover, where it feels like a whole adventure off-path from the main story. And it really is true. You can approach the quests in any order you like, adding that extra sense of I am in control of my own narrative feeling to your open world gameplay. The new game's side content just doesn't hit as deep. There's less moral pull and less flavor.
For now. But please, find me later. It would be everything.
That shift in quest philosophy mirrors the mechanics. Bloodlines 2 is built for kinetic play. Parries, kicks, and ability chains that click once the timing settles in. Less spreadsheet, more muscle memory. You unlock new skills as you go and will have most of them by the midway point. And while it carries an RPG tag on Steam, it plays like an action game with light RPG frosting. No stat management, no equipment, multiple choice dialogue instead of build depth, and the action itself isn't deep enough to stave off repetition for long, at least for some players. How did it land for you? The original leaned into character sheets and social/utility skills, hacking and lockpicking as identity, not just friction, so talking, sneaking, or stumbling through a fight all felt like valid, flavorful routes to Sunrise. Something that actually reinforced how you approach the game's story. Whether you'd go into a mission by using brute force, or utilizing your sneaking skills to skip the conflict altogether, it ultimately lets you manage your own approach to the game. Opening the door to action also opens the door to experimentation. The sequel loosens clan walls so you can stitch a kit from beyond your lineage, turning your build into a curated mixtape of disciplines and passives. But with the cross-clan feature, it feels like it loses character from the original, where you were only able to pick one clan, keeping each clan feeling distinct. You're stuck with heavily tailored skills that embody each clan, whether it was stealth or more aggressive abilities, which is what it means to pick a clan. Now this is what increased the replayability, which feels like the superior approach rather than the cross-clan in the new game. With that toolkit in hand, the combat's center of gravity becomes obvious. Here in the sequel, fights have an emphasis on melee and vampire abilities that reward precise timing and spatial awareness. It makes the combat feel like a whole choreography, which actually feels kind of satisfying. The original went for a hybrid of melee and gunplay that was, at best, endearingly messy, consisting of a swirl of broken hitboxes and bullet math that somehow made every fight in a back alley feel like its own bloody legend. But now that I think of it, that back alley fight also gave me a variety of weapons to choose from, whether it was ranged or melee, something that the sequel got rid of. Whether one is better than the other is a question of its own though, and we want to hear it from you. Which one do you prefer?
What year is this?
The year 2024. When did you...
I have been asleep for 100 years.
Now there's a thing. Well then, welcome to the 21st century.
Here's where the night ends. So what kind of open world changes does Bloodlines 2 have to offer? Well, it's hard to say really. Even though the game has a unified map with parkour added verticality, It loses quality in its more linear story and questionable RPG mechanics. Not to mention, for a game that has modern visuals, it loses the quality of life that the NPC's facial expressions gave in the prequel. Other than that, everything kind of takes a backseat. Side content feels weightless. The same goes with clan choices too, where choices don't feel as distinct. And having combat without weapon choices? I don't know about you, but were they really trying to continue the series? So for all the changes the game has, the soul runs thinner. Beneath the polish and momentum, the world feels curated rather than haunted. Stylish, yes, but a lesser echo of what came before. We think the original Bloodlines remains not only the better RPG, but even the better game. Richer lore, deeper role-playing, more personality. So if a little jank and old school edges don't scare you, it's definitely worth giving a try. And if you're not satisfied with the older game's graphics or something else, for that matter, you can always mod it to your liking. But at the end of the day, do any of the changes from the new Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 make you want to give this sequel a try? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more open world deep dives. That's it for now. I'll catch you in the next one. And until then, happy exploring.